Oh no! It's morning!
And that means it's time for the Rotten Mournings Podcast! Best way to start your morning off.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Rotten Mornings.
Hey, gal.
Hey. I'm Scott.
I'm Matt.
I'm Brandy.
And I'm Grim.
Hey guys, quick question just for everyone participating. Why are we doing these?
Because it's fun.
Oh, okay, cool.
What are we doing?
What's everybody doing?
No, I didn't mean to click.
I didn't mean to click. You guys want to jump into some rotten news? I know everybody's like, hey man, I got my coffee. I can't take my first sip until I hear some news.
I got my coffee.
Holy shit. Is that really the first time that you've
ever drank coffee on this podcast?
That you ever drank coffee?
Ever in my entire life.
How do you think about
hate
this third world country brown bean water?
I don't like it.
Okay.
Brown bean water.
It makes water
Yay!
out of beans. Goddamn untrustworthy
Coffee
thing.
is life.
What the fuck?
What the fuck?
Don't trust nobody make a goddamn cup of soda out of a bean.
It is Sunday morning. Saturday was a big day for all of us.
Yes, it fucking was.
Started off with a podcast.
Podcast!
I cannot believe. You know what? You can tell she wasn't in the house because she still has some of her voice left.
I can't. There's like 2 octaves that they're dead.
That was like a little bit lower. I was like, that's a
Podcast.
I'm a man now.
You have
done made me a
so
man.
many confessions on recorded confessions today.
I have.
Yep. You guys heard it here last. Grim's a man, baby.
I'm a man.
No, she's a man, baby.
I'm a
Man, baby.
Get down!
Where? Don't yell at me.
Don't you mean where?
I twirl my Scott stash. Where?
Don't yell at me, I'm a man.
Go shoot your butt somewhere else.
So we had the podcast, and we talked about the elusive, the mysterious a-hole.
Yeah, we did, didn't we?
Ahoo!
Oh.
We just went all in on it.
One of the most in-depth researches we didn't do. Fantastic. Going into the day, we got to do some shooting, and that was pretty cool. Video, not other people. We all have alibis. Everybody has an alibi here. We have alibis.
Agreed.
And then we all went out to Haunts.
Mm-hmm.
And while at Haunts, getting ready for Haunts, there was a couple of lives.
Yep.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. At 7 o'clock, scripts came out.
Episode 15.
Yeah, which is a monumental 3-parter finale.
What's monumental about it is it's one of the few things that we actually finished.
That's fair.
We actually had the final part.
Yeah.
Congratulations to us.
Yeah.
Toby continued.
And if you guys watch that, you'll wonder, why are they congratulating themselves?
That sucked.
I
So then we had a few more lives.
that's true. That's
Yes.
true. We had
From
lives.
Hellbilly Hollow.
Yep, from Hellbilly Hollow, and we got Tim on screen for that.
Yes.
We had non-Beetlejuice and Beetlejuice.
Yes, we
We
did.
had non-Beetlejuice in one live and
Earlier
Beetlejuice
in
in
the
another
day,
live.
yeah.
Okay, sir, if you could limit the amount of times that you say that.
I've already fucked that up.
Yeah. By the way, you have to say Tim 5 times.
Yeah.
Tim.
Yeah, but it
Awesome.
takes him like 3 days to get here. So.
Yeah, he just walked.
Yeah, he just walks.
Did you guys see the blue face guy with the straw-looking hair? Did you see that? Who was that weirdo?
Leslie
Was he new?
Lloyd.
Was he new?
Christopher Nilsson.
Christopher Vernon, you idiots. He said Nelson.
Leslie,
But yeah,
yes. Yes.
I think Tim rather enjoyed his gift.
I think he did too.
I think he did
gave
too.
him Chicken Dan's Speedo.
And
You know-
he gave us a gift too.
There's a lot of gifts that you can give from the bottom of your heart. This came from the bottom of Chicken Dan.
Yeah.
Oh, literally.
Dude, to Tim's credit, when we showed up tonight, walking up to the haunt, we saw this banner, and it advertised what we can't really fully explain. But it had our name on it.
It had our name on it somewhere in there. It had our name in it.
It had our name in big ass letters, and you know, Tim went out of his way to make this. I went out of my way to make fun of him for it. But what a fucking treat! And then in that live,
They gave us a poster signed by everybody out there, and that was
Yes.
rad as fuck.
That was.
And there were
a
some people that
huge
didn't know about it. So at the end of the night, when we went back up to the cast room, they said something about it, and everybody's like, "Where the fuck is it? I didn't get my signature on there." It's fucking awesome, man.
that's awesome.
treat. We even got Kim to sign it.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
I wish we would have had David Miller's signature.
I
but
know.
I couldn't track him down. But we got the second best. We got Tim Miller's.
But this was the very first time that I worked the Midway, and I fucking enjoyed everything about it. It was fun.
I think you did a phenomenal job.
Yes.
The Midway is such a fun thing because when you have a bunch of people who are working the Midway, you always try to be respectful of another person trying to get their scare. Sometimes you'll get the double scare, but like you kind of have to work that, and like having that little place, like, hey, this will be my place for scares for right this second, you know, moving around. That's a really cool thing to learn. But also, Midway is the one place I get to clown and actually do clowning,
Yeah.
like improv clowning. Yeah, I loved it. And Grim, I think you did a phenomenal job.
Yes, it was
I-
so
well,
fun to watch people run away from you.
You can still look at the live.
and also people come up wanting pictures.
Grim's
with
the
you.
only
It was
person
cool.
out there that's doing what Grim does.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
100%.
Nobody could, like, she could be in anybody's position. She's the only person doing what
She
Grim does.
Yes.
nobody does Grim.
Grim was a boneless vampire.
Yes.
Why do you say boneless?
Because a lot of times you'll be like, I am a vampire. And you guys, if you're watching the live stream of this podcast, you'll say, I am a vampire and I have no bones.
Yes! I am boneless
She
vampire.
was
It was awesome.
a blood-sucking jellyfish. And
It was beautiful. And yes, you can see that on, I believe, a little bit on all of the lives. Maybe not one of the ones from this afternoon. I think on that you were just vaping. But as far as the ones
spooky.
from this evening,
Still
it was
spooky.
great.
spooky.
days.
And then one of the lives also featured some of DCC's performance.
Yes.
It did.
And it was good talking to them, hanging out with them.
Yeah.
Had a good talk with Brandon. Like, everything
Dude, those guys are, they're, you know, I've
they're
enjoyed talking
still, to this day, top-notch fucking performers.
Yes.
I love that they've honed their show down to, like, a really manageable existence. But mad props to them on how 1,000% more inviting they seem, and how
Yes.
1,000% more professional they seem, and like I didn't even know what it was gonna be like, man. And they wowed me with their pizzazz.
I said about the show last night. At one part, when they've announced the show and they've announced it in the right amount of time to get
Yeah.
people to show up, and nobody's in the house and nobody's on the hayride because everybody wants to see that show, and they had that entire audience, everyone at Hell
Captured, yeah.
And they
Captivated.
Yep.
They and
Capsized.
it was a really good audience. They were very reactive. They were very
Yeah.
interactive. Like that, it was a great show. They did a fucking banger job.
I I got to go through the corn maze for the first time.
Same.
And with you guys, which was a blast. And also, I don't know, I didn't say it last night when I was talking about the haunt. It's my fault, but I do want to give big props, or at least one single prop, to Airplane.
Airplane.
Yeah.
Airplane.
We are very proud of that airplane.
If you guys get to go out to Hellbilly Hollow, be sure to ride the hayride.
Not the airplane.
Not the airplane. No matter what Tim tells you, do not ride the fucking
It was
airplane.
actually my very first time going through the swamp.
Oh, really?
Nice.
Yes.
Oh, and on the hayride, or
Hayride,
yeah.
yes.
What was neat about that, or what I'm understanding, Tim is trying to do, is in order to one up Chicken Dan, he's gonna have the crazy plane.
Yeah. Ain't no rails on this crazy plane.
It's in the works.
It's in the works.
Yeah.
I'm losing liability on the crazy plane. There's not a waiver to sign. It's just that most people waver in their decision to actually do it. Yeah,
it's a wavering decision.
Yeah. Cool. So, talked to Tommy Dan. Saw him after his haunt. He looked exhausted. And I was like, hey, man, what's going on? He's like, hey, City of Chaos tonight was great, had good numbers, had good crowds. And
Yeah, we
people
heard they
pushing
got their
through.
asses kicked.
Well,
for a
based
while.
on the number that we
That's good.
sort of perpetuated at Hellbilly, to this day, Chicken House always puts up double numbers, right? Always double the numbers of Hellbilly Hollow. Never fails. Not today. Chicken House
shit.
did not put up double today. They put up more.
And
They
I-
did put up more.
And I heard
but not double.
somebody say that would only you know what, it doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
that's not going to do it.
It
It's
doesn't.
too soon for the podcast. Even the audience might not be able to digest that.
What time is the podcast coming out?
We might already be too late.
Oh my God. Publish and print. Cool. So, guys, we had from our recordings, we did the podcast, we had an episode of Strips, and we had a new episode of Midnight Cinema Macabre.
Yes, also very good. Everything. I really like the moons part in that.
The
I like
Probably
the
the best.
bathtub.
the bed.
That.
the bath bed.
Yeah.
Bed Bath and
really
Beyond. You didn't
It
mention
was
that
Bed
was
Bath
the
and
first,
Beyond. There you
the
go.
first video with Bed Bath and Beyond in it.
It's because there's a reason for that. We lost them as a sponsor. Right before we came on. Those are, I think that those are neat. Like the
Yes.
very first horror films.
I enjoy them.
Yeah, and that is the Renaissance man himself. That is Georges Millet, who is playing the main character.
Yeah.
He wasn't the main character in the very first film in the series. He just directed it, shot it in his backyard. And this, he's taking, vaudeville acts and turning them on stage. But, there's cuts in there that, that's film school 101.
Yeah.
Right.
And it wasn't film school 101 because it wasn't film school. So, he invented those pop cuts.
Yeah.
And they're pretty solid
Yeah.
considering they're over 120 years old.
Right.
I still
So-
to this day see older movies and I'm like, how the fuck did they do that?
How
What
did they
had
pull
to
that
do?
off in that time?
These guys were doing shit 120 years ago. And if you think about your family, that could be 4 or 5 generations back.
Right.
Your great
So, everybody
grandpappy.
in that movie is dead?
Oh, super dead.
Holy shit.
They're double dead. But
Double dog dead.
you look at the quality of that and these amazing innovative things, and you
And you
compare
think
that
they're all dead.
and you compare that to Ron Don John Jr.
Ronaldinho.
It's Rondon Ronaldinho Jr.
Ronaldinho. I didn't.
Ronaldinho.
I was actually talking about a different guy.
Oh, okay.
Uh-huh.
He's with Christopher Nielsen.
And you know what? In 120 years, people are going to look back on our shit and go, man,
How the fuck
I
did this ever
love
get
240 years ago when movies were only 2 minutes long.
You know what? We look at films 100 years ago and go, how the fuck did they do that? People in 100 years will look at our films and go, why the fuck
did they do that? Exactly.
Oh, Jesus. Well, if you guys are already listening to the podcast, we've got a podcast coming up for you today, and this is it.
Yeah.
She fucking brought a grub in. Anyways.
We did not mention Papa Payne's live.
Oh, right.
From
do that.
Fear Farms.
That's out in West Blockton.
In West Blockton, yes.
Yeah. Looked like he had a lot of fun. Actually, Papa Payne just seems like he's having a lot of fun everywhere he goes.
Yes.
And that's awesome. So glad to see more lives from him and having another person on the crew that's out going to these haunts and checking them out. and I'll say this too. He's hitting haunts that we haven't even been to.
Right.
The horror, the terror, the horror in Tuscaloosa.
Yes.
This one's in West Blockton, and these aren't, these are like an hour from us. So
Yeah.
haunts we definitely want to get to at some point.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So today, we do have the podcast. As always, during October, there will be a new episode of Strips.
Mm-hmm.
Rips.
Strippy.
Strip you.
Strip you, man.
Strip you.
I feel like
Strip you.
maybe something else will happen, but I can't remember if that's a thing.
We may have something else come up, but tonight, if you want to run into some of those crazy rotten heads, you can.
Yes.
Where will you guys be?
Matt and I will be at Warehouse 31 with some folks from Hellbilly Hollip. And Grim and Tommy will be out at Insanitarium.
Yes.
So, and you guys may be working in Sanitarium.
I'm hoping.
That would be a blast.
Yes.
We had a super blast when we were out there last time. I haven't been to Warehouse 31 in a number of years, but the thing I remember most prolifically about Warehouse 31 is they had a 3D clown tunnel at one point, and they had brought in one of the top mural artists to do that, and it was stellar, absolutely stellar. So yeah, that's where you can find some rotten action tonight. And if you guys are looking for me, well,
Too bad.
Looking for himself.
I'll be out at Hellbilly Hollow tonight.
They're not open.
Planting the seeds for destruction.
Trying to get that
that
plane
going.
Scott, shut your butthole up.
Urza.
You too, Urza.
Shut your
Butthole.
butthole.
Shut up now.
Urza also shut Scott's butthole.
Yeah, go.
Hey, it's a two-person job.
One person.
We've got to turn the key at the same time.
what we're
Cool.
calling
So, guys, that's been the news, and that's where to find us. And we would just be absolutely delighted if
Tickle
you did.
pink.
Tonight out at Hellbilly, there was people that
Last
knew
night.
that we were. Oh, last night, yeah. There were people that knew that we were out there because they listened to the podcast.
Yep.
Is what I'm going with.
That's what it is.
It's the only way they have known, because you guys get secret information no one else gets.
Woohoo!
Only you guys.
Secret information.
Mm-hmm.
You guys are unlucky.
Oh, shit.
You guys are choosing the short straw.
You poor
Yay.
bastards. Except for you, Mr. Marlin, and you, Riddlin.
I feel bad for them too.
But we still feel bad for you for
love-
having to
But we
listen.
love you.
I can't tell you, Marlon, he reached out to me and he's like, dude, I'm sorry, I've been busy all month and yada, yada, yada. And I'm like, dude, it's cool. And he's like, yeah, I really hadn't been able to keep up with shit. And I'm like, fucking, you hadn't been able to.
We can't even
Motherfucker, we
keep
don't
up
even
with
know
our
where we're
own
at.
shit.
Never ever.
I said, I feel bad about having to make you watch all this bullshit.
I like that Mrs. Marlin has started watching some of our stuff.
and we're sorry for that.
And we also apologize to his wife for getting her involved with this cadaver of stupidity.
Riddlin had posted up something the other day like, trying to keep up with Rotten's
Yeah.
all this stuff coming out. And then it was a funny gif or a meme.
Yeah, yes.
We love you, Riddlin, man. We love
Yes.
all of the people that have been so loyal, and really, if it weren't for you guys, we'd still do this.
I was gonna say, don't blame them for us.
No,
That's
we
a
would
hell
totally
of a thing to
still
drop
do
on
this.
people who are nice.
It's all your fault.
I hope you guys are happy for ruining the industry.
Feel shame.
It's pretty much, if we were going to blame anyone, we would have to blame this app, because if podcasting wasn't so goddamn easy with this app, we wouldn't do it.
No, definitely.
That's true.
We,
It's Anchor's fault.
Yeah.
True story.
All right, guys, we're going to take a quick X amount of second break, and then when we come back, we're going to talk about this morning's Cryptid.
Ta-da!
Shut your butthole, Scott.
Coming this October, as night falls on a quarantined prison somewhere in Vincent, Alabama, vampires have taken over at Hellbilly Hollow, and things will never be the same.
Come visit Hellbilly Hollow in Vincent, Alabama. You'll have the best night of your life.
Yes, we'd love to have you in our neck of the woods.
The wait is driving us batty.
This year, we've raised the stakes. Join us.
Join us.
One of Alabama's top-rated haunts. This is the one for you.
Hellbilly Hollow Haunted House Attraction in Vincent, Alabama. Open at 7 p.m. every Friday and Saturday in October.
Tickets available at the door.
Exclusive merchandise, tasty concessions, live entertainment.
Well-lit bathrooms.
For more information, check us out on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and at hellbillyhollow.com. And we will see you there.
Join us.
Don't go that way, man. You know who's back there? It's that serial killer from that movie.
What? Why are they here? I thought they were supposed to be chasing the kids at summer camp or invading the nightmares of the kids on that one street.
Well, they're all here. Brought in to fight off the mutant chickens, and now it's a horror free-for-all.
Oh. Where do I buy tickets?
The Haunted Chicken House in Heflin is the largest tourist attraction in East Alabama.
Open every weekend in October. Tickets are $15 per attraction. 2 for $25 and 3 for $40.
Ride the hayride of horrors.
Visit the Haunted Chicken House.
Defy death in the infamous Crazy Train.
For more information, check us out on Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, and thehauntedchickenhouse.com. And we'll see you there. We're back, guys.
We are back.
We're back.
Yay! That means you are too.
Is everybody back?
We're back.
I got
It
Matt,
sounds like it.
Matt and Brandy, and I am here. But where's Graham?
Hey, can you not see me?
Graham?
Scott! Scott!
Did she
Urza didn't come back either.
step out? To
Shut your butthole.
To the
Scott!
Grim hole?
Grim step out to the grim hole.
That's
I hate you.
One of my favorite songs. Grim stepping out to the grim hole tonight.
Ow, ow, ow.
Grim stepping out.
Please stop.
Okay. Hey, Grim's back. Hey, I found her. Tonight, god damn it, flip flop. This morning's cryptid is Honey Island Swamp Monster.
Island Swamp Monster.
Yeah, and you can abbreviate that to HSII.
Well,
H-I-S.
it's also been
Lady.
called, I believe I saw the Cajun Bigfoot or Cajun Sasquatch, or something similar.
Yeah.
And the
Absolutely.
very first time it was ever seen was in 1974.
Actually, there's been other witnesses. That's the first, like...
Calling it that.
The confirmed? Or...
Yeah, but there's been stories of this since the 60s.
Fuck yes.
If you guys have ever had an opportunity to go to Honey Island Swamp, it is every bit like the swampy marshland that people say New Orleans is, right? Like you'll see New Orleans on TV and they're like going through and there's like all the different water trees. There's a cooler name for that. But like it's a swamp. It's like the swamp. Yeah. And then you go to New Orleans and you're like, it's just pee. There's just pee on the ground and there's too many people. And they're all peeing together and there's nowhere to pee. Because everything is already
all peed up,
covered in pee. I love New Orleans, but don't act like New Orleans don't got no pee in it.
Don't got no pee in it.
It smells like pee.
You can't spell New Orleans without pee.
That's the pee hotspot of the world.
We love New Orleans. But yeah, this is that swamp though. This is super swamp, and it's right as you go into Louisiana from Mississippi.
Interesting.
So, one of the descriptions of the Honey Island Swamp Monster is just that it's a legendary 500-pound beast that hides amid the cypress trees and murky waters.
Swamp thing.
And it's 7 feet tall.
7 feet tall?
Yeah.
So, I think that, like, another description has it, like, shorter than a man.
They're lying.
If that man was 9 feet tall.
I think the one thing the thing I'm looking at says 8 feet tall. And hairy from head to toe.
There's a lot of swamp monsters.
The thing I'm looking at don't say shit. It wants me to read it, so I'm like, fuck that.
Matt, you're looking at the top of a toilet.
But it
still says the same thing.
It is frequently referred to as a beast, and it is a part man, part animal with piercing yellow eyes. And it's appeared in stories from the 60s. But the story you were talking about from 1974, there was a man named Ford who was a wildlife photographer and former air traffic controller, and he claimed to have witnessed the creature while exploring potential hunting grounds in 1974. But after he died, they actually found a grainy film reel in his attic that shows a large and hairy figure shuffling upright between the trees.
Country roads?
So there's a footage of the Honey Island Swamp Monster. That's interesting. I have never seen video footage of the monster. So that's really cool.
So said that it has yellow eyes that are seemingly reptilian, and the smell it emits has been called the stench of death. Da-da-da. Ah, death. Death! Death! Death!
I'm sorry. I didn't hear that. Okay. So, now here's the thing I want us, like, kind of to talk about, right? Possibility you're in this like marsh, you're in this swamp. It's late at night. Okay? Late at night, if you've got lights on your boat or whatever you see, the eyes will reflect back to you, right? So if you've got like a candle, maybe even white eyes will reflect back the yellow candle. Mm-hmm. All right, so yellow eyes, sure. And then if you subscribe to pareidolia, where you see faces and stuff, nothing makes human faces or faces better than leaves and shadows, right? There's so many patterns there that you could derive, that you could see a humanoid, either a face or a shape. So, is this just some people having, thoughts?
Oh my fucking god, this creature has 4 toes?
on each foot.
There's literally a doll from Monster High that is called the Honey Island Swamp Barbie.
Oh, wow.
She's a babe. She's a babe.
I like her hair.
So it seems to have a few varying descriptions, but one thing I find interesting is that some people call the same creature a Rougarou.
So when we were talking about a Rougarou, we talked about how like that's like the Cajun werewolf, but it's like shorter than other werewolves. So it's like a smaller, like a rat size, like not rat size, but like more ratty kind of thing. And this one is more, but also they would call anything that was Bigfoot-esque the Rougarou.
Right.
So I think when they said that this is also called the Rougarou, I think the people who call, and those two things, right? So you've got the small little werewolf, and then you've got the big werewolf.
Yeah.
And if you separate those two, you've got the Honey Island Swamp Monster, and you've got the Rougarou.
Right.
But if you saw one or either cryptid, you would call it by this name or that name.
Right.
And I think that's why.
I think that's how that's happened too. And I've also heard other descriptions of the Rougarou to be more cat-like, like large cat-like creature.
Yep.
Leopard specifically is one of the ones I've heard in reference to it, or even panther.
Yep. It's also a delicious restaurant in Birmingham.
That is true. That is true.
I think it's important to point out that this creature is bipedal.
So it pedals both ways?
Yes.
That's interesting.
Honey Island Swamp is what Hatchet is in.
It absolutely is.
Victor Crowley.
Yeah, absolutely.
In St. Tammany Parish.
Somebody was talking earlier about it's known for a smell, a strong smell.
A putrid odor is the way I've seen it described.
The smell of death.
And now this
Death!
is like,
Death! Death!
This is very common in all of the Bigfoots that we have talked about. What was the one we talked about the other day with the bigger shoulders, the head lowered, the Grafton monster?
Yeah.
There was also the Alflinger that was smellier than the smelliest Sasquatch.
The Arflinger.
Arflinger.
Death.
If you guys saw the smile that Matt made and heard the daggers flying from my eyes and whizzing past the microphone, you'll understand why he's no longer allowed on the podcast.
I got fired.
There's also another local name, which is Louisiana Wookiee.
Louisiana Wookiee, that's fun.
I love it.
And
so
then
cute.
in Cajun French, they call it La Bite
Louisiana
Noire.
Wookiee done bit it off.
Yeah. Grim, you know what a Wookiee is, right?
Acute. This primitive creature has long been blamed for deaths of livestock and the mysterious disappearances of children in adjacent areas.
I gotta say, Rougarou is better branding than Honey Island Swamp Monster.
Rougarou's a different creature, though.
I know, I'm just saying they should have gave his ass a fucking name, not just like monster from this area.
So you were okay with Grafton Monster?
Grafton sounds bad as fuck. Honey Island sounds like somewhere that I go to get honey.
It sounds like a Pooh Bear island.
Tim brings me honey all the time. He's still a bitch, though.
Like one of the reports I
He's a
mentioned
Rougarou.
earlier
He's a
referenced it
Rougarou.
as being 8 feet tall and covered from head to toe in like a dark brown or black fur.
Or gray.
But then there's also reports of it being about 7 feet tall, covered with gray hair. We mentioned earlier having the yellow eyes, but it's also sometimes known to have red eyes. But the one common description is that putrid odor.
Well,
So,
I mean,
I
I
wanna-
think that's the problem. You give this thing a name and you can stop saying that everything is it.
Well, here's the thing that I kind of want to bring up. It was an interesting point that happened, and it came from comic books, so like I'll give that disclaimer. But there was a character in a comic book who would teleport, all right? And when he would teleport, when he would come through on the other side of the teleport,
Smelled like
sulfur.
yeah.
Always had this really bad rotten egg stink smell. And then later they revealed like he was portaling to hell. So, with that being said, since there are no bodies, this has always been speculated about the Sasquatch, Bigfoot people. Since there are no bodies, we haven't found a corpse of them, things like that. They think that they're interdimensional travelers, right? So maybe all of them are traveling through sulfur-filled hell.
So whenever they travel to die?
God damn it! Huh?
They just don't want to die here?
I think if one dies, then I think the speculation is that if one dies, other ones come through a portal and get the body and bring it back, so there's never any
So
evidence.
they have like a tracking device inside of them for them to find it.
I smell them over here. Must have farted.
So
It made a fart
I
sound.
mean, I don't know how they would. I don't know how they.
Could you ask them, you fucking Sasquatch-looking piece of shit?
It's your brethren. Tell us something.
I'll ask.
well,
Next time I see them.
okay.
I'll tell you about Mountain Creek if you do.
I can't hear about you guys' secret date on site.
We mentioned the first claimed sighting by Harlan Ford, which was in 1963. It wasn't until after his death in 1980 that they found the reel of Super 8 film showing the creature, supposedly. But in 1974, the same man and a friend of his claimed to have found unusual footprints in the area, as well as the body of a wild boar whose throat had been gashed. But there's still many stories today of it, inhabiting the swamp and the bayous along the Pearl River. But the part of the local legend of it, and I find this interesting, tells of a train crash that occurred near the swamp in the early 20th century, in which a traveling circus lost chimpanzees who adapted to the environment and offer a potential explanation to the creature's origins.
I'm a chimpanzee.
Circus chimpanzees.
That's Jacob on the screen. There's so did that circus train wreck actually happen, or is that a thing of legend?
That I'm not sure. It just, like, this article I'm looking at specifically just says local lore tells of a train crash that occurred near the swamp in the early 20th century.
Very interesting. When cryptids are seen or suspected of being seen, there comes all this speculation. Guys, if you've been tuning in, listening to the podcast as we talk about some of the explanations of these things. One, we talked about the Bigfoot. They talk about them maybe like interdimensional things. That's kind of far-fetched. The other thing that you hear a lot is this is an escaped animal that has adapted, right? We heard about that with the kangaroo that escaped, right? Mm-hmm. And then recently we talked about another animal, and they're like, oh, it was probably this that escaped.
Well, the Grafton monster, they said it was it Grafton, and they were like, oh, it could be this, and it's like, well, why the fuck would that be here though? That still doesn't make any sense. That's just as weird.
Madagascar eye.
Yeah.
Like what?
That's still as weird to be here as a Bigfoot would be to be here. They're like, oh, it was like a polar bear, and it's like, why is a polar bear here? Why is a polar bear doing?
Yeah.
So Walmart sells a children's book on this called The Very Hairy Scary Honey Island Swamp Monster.
That's a children's book?
It is.
The Very Hairy Scary.
Hairy Scary.
Wow. If you guys go to YouTube, you can find some of the footage. You can find the video that he shot. We're actually looking at it now. And
great stuff. Super 8 was really deaf. High def.
It looks like nothing.
It looks like every other thing.
I mean, it looks like a large shadow moving in the distance.
Hagrid moving in the background is what.
But
I think he died.
He did die.
He just did. Robbie Coltrane.
Oh.
But I will say that, like, unlike, some people really embrace their cryptids. Some people talk about their cryptids like, oh, it's just dumb, whatever. The Honey Island Swamp has really embraced this Honey Island Swamp monster. If you're in that area, you can get keychains with pictures of it on there, and you can go on tours where they talk about sightings and stuff like that. And that's a real popular tourist attraction thing to do down there. I guess it's similar in West Virginia, where the Mothman Festival takes place. And if you remember from the first season of the podcast where we talked about the face in the courthouse window, you can still go there to this day, and there's got like an arrow pointing to it, which is like this big obnoxious arrow pointing to it. I love that. I love when communities are like, "Hey, we got us a cryptid."
Yeah,
that's kind of cool, right?
I have now found...
No one did that with the chupacabra.
I have now found another contradicting description. Because you said earlier 4 toes, right? And there's another one saying webbed 3 toes.
Oh shit! So
it's considered
like
that
like a gator,
a Bigfoot from a different area evolved webbed feet to better suit its swamp environment, and some even believe that it's an experiment gone awry.
That really goes right up against Occam's razor there.
Like
it's just real close.
Yeah, it's real close there.
I think it's inbreeding
of Sasquatches
of Louisiana.
Yeah.
That's a state.
Yeah.
They inbred with itself.
Yes.
That's just bread.
Honey Island Swamp doing better, Mo.
And you get a hairy
swamp
duck
down there. Old Swamp Monster done took my keys and I can't find the goddamn thing.
Alright, easy. So anyway, guys, that's Honey Island Swamp Monster.
Damn Honey Island Swamp Monster.
Guys, we continue to try to bring you guys cryptids from all over, so you guys will know a little bit more about cryptids from different areas that you may find some interest in. And we hope that you guys find it as interesting as we do as we continue to build our library of cryptids.
Really hope you like that.
I don't even like hairy ducks. I think it's fucking stupid.
With that being said, if there's anything...
Did you say hairy ducks?
We'll just go ahead and we'll stay rotten.
Stay rotten.
Stay rotten.
Hairy ducks.
Stay rotten.
Join us next time for another episode of Rotten Mournings.